Hey, everybody, welcome. All right, so we're getting started to here. We're going to do this live. It's a couple hours before the hostage release, the ceasefire, the prisoners that are going to be released by the Palestinian prisoners that are going to be released. Um, Actually, you know what I'm not sure is when the Palestinian prisoners are going to be released. Is it going to be the same time as the Israeli hostages? Okay, so today we had one terror attack, a stabbing in Tel Aviv. There's one person seriously injured. The terrorist was shot at the scene. We had two missiles shot from Yemen, one of which was over Jerusalem, actually. So 10:20 in the morning, just sitting here in Jerusalem, suddenly a siren. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. We're like on the cusp of a ceasefire. What the heck? And also in Jerusalem. So it's definitely not Hezbollah. Hezbollah has been quiet for nearly 2 months now. And then you've definitely if it's Hamas, what are they like using, like their last long range missile before the ceasefire goes into effect? Like that, I could not believe. But it turns out it was from Yemen. So the Houthis, who said that they are going to abide by the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas, that they said that a couple of days ago, but I guess they had two ballistic missiles that they couldn't not use. They were ground to ground missiles, or you're talking like 1,500 miles from there to here. And here in Jerusalem at 10:20 in the morning, when one of my kids was still barefoot, we're like running to a bomb shelter. And I was like, seriously? Like, ceasefire. So anyway, um, so that's where we're at now. We've got a couple hours till the first hostage release. Now, just a couple interesting things. I mean, it's 470 days since the hostages have been in Gaza, and actually, there's let me see where I have this story, but if you can believe this, I didn't even know this. Wait, let me get this so you guys can look at it. Actually, let me put it up here. All right, where is this? Where is this? I'm going to share something on my screen. Everybody's talking about the Israeli hostages, and in fact, can you guys see this? Hopefully, you see this. I'm showing the screen of this is a Ynet article. And so everybody's talking about the Israeli hostages. And if you're in Israel, like, I'm here in Israel, like you know the hostages, you know the faces, you know the pictures, you're familiar with them. But what you may not know, and what even I didn't know actually, is that there are still 10 foreign nationals that are captive in Gaza. So here, just a little bit of the article. Of the 98 hostages still held by Hamas in Gaza, 10 are foreign nationals abducted from their workplaces in southern Israel's kibbutzim. Wait, tell me there's more to this article. What is this? What is this? Oh, read more. You got to find like the fine print of read more. 8 are Thai citizens who came to Israel to support their families, while the others include one Nepali student and one Tanzanian student. These foreign hostages are not included in the first stage of the planned deal, which is set to begin next week and involves the release of 33 captives. So unbelievably, they're not actually part. I don't know where their governments are in this negotiation, but they're not actually part of the deal. So if you can believe it, I mean, kind of hard for me to believe that there's still 10 foreigners, and that their governments haven't been able to negotiate. We had one hostage release back in November of last year, well, in 2023, where there were just a lot of the foreign workers were released, like even like on the side, like not part of the Israeli deals. But I don't know how it is that they're still there, and that there's that many. So anyway, so they're still there. Now the other in other, hostage issues, today is the second birthday of the youngest hostage, Kafir Bibas. So many of you are familiar with the story of the Bibas family. You saw probably pictures of the mother, Shiri, being abducted with her two kids and then taken into Gaza. Her husband was abducted separately, and I don't remember what the circumstances was or why they were not together. But today is Kafir Bibas's birthday. Now, there's a list of 33 hostages, Israeli hostages, that are going to be released. That's in exchange for over 1,000 Palestinian hostages. Is it 1,000? Yeah, I think so. I can't do math fast, but because there's like so many stages to this deal. This deal is absolutely bizarre and hard to keep up with. So, for instance, it's over the span of 42 days, and it's 3 hostages at a time per week. So, and then I think the 3, I would assume, go with 100. Is that right? I don't know. Tony, help me out. Is it 3 hostages for 100 prisoners?
I'm not sure.
Anyway,
I haven't kept up with the thing, but I know it's a complicated.
It's very complicated, and it lasts. So last time we had 10 hostages. The reason I'm getting confused is because, like, last time it was 10 hostages at a time, and was it 10 for 300?
Yeah, it was something.
I think it was 10 for 300. Anyway, and now it's 3 hostages at a time once a week, whereas last time it was 10 hostages every day for 5 days. But 100 got released. So how did that work out? Maybe that includes the tie. In any case, originally there were 253 hostages. And actually, all right, so now also the 98 includes 2 hostages that, well, they're 2 Israelis. One is a Bedouin Israeli, one an Ethiopian. The 2 of them were said to have mental illness. They were, by the way, not together, and this was 2 separate instances where they kind of stumbled into Gaza and then were kept there. So anyway, so that's so they're also going to be released in the stage, and there's also the bodies of 2 soldiers killed in 2014. So in any case, I just have to say hi, Laura, because hi, Laura, I see your said hi. And anyway, all right, so where are we at? So this is set to begin tomorrow. And the interesting thing about it, the Israeli press keeps saying, in Hebrew that you refer to masculine or feminine, and they keep saying kidnapped, but in the feminine. So that tomorrow, the 3 hostages that are supposed to be released at noon tomorrow, if everything goes as it's supposed to, are supposed to be female. So that's interesting. The other thing is the list of 33 that will be released in the 42 days that Israel got. It's not there's no indication of whether they're dead or alive. So going back to the issue of the Bibas family, so Shiri Bibas, a young mother, was kidnapped with her 2 sons. One at the time was 3 or 4, and I think he's 5 now. And the other one was 9 months old, and he just turned 1. So, he just turned 2. Today's his 2nd birthday. several months ago, Hamas said that they were killed in an Israeli bombing. So Israel has never said that that's true or confirmed it, whereas Israel has confirmed other deaths. Israel has recovered bodies of hostages, but they never said that they had conclusive evidence whether that was true. But all members of the Bibas family are on the list of the 33. Again, no indication of their status. So now, last time when this happened, it was a month and a half. It was starting about 6 weeks after October 7th that the hostages were released. And it was a little bit of, it was bittersweet, but more along the lines of a euphoric atmosphere in Israel anyway of welcoming the hostages. There were cameras on the site where Hamas was dropping them off for the Red Cross, and then the Red Cross would pick them up and then drop them off to an Israeli military base, and all along the way it was filmed, and you could see everybody being released and what happened. And we're not really sure it's going to play out the same. Also, the release is supposed to take place at noon. Now, I'm not ever going to say that, it's never according to the clock. And even I will caution you that there may not be a release tomorrow. Anything could happen between now and then. I mean, once I heard the sirens today, and then you heard of a terror attack. I mean, there's anything can foil this ceasefire from actually taking place. So until it happens, I would say don't get your hopes up that it's actually going to happen. But it's only going to be 3 at a time. Now they have been in captivity for 470 days. Nobody knows their health status or what's happened to them. You don't know. Also, like I said, maybe not all are alive. Israel has already said that it believes that at least well over 30% are already dead, and if that's and some have conclusively been considered deceased. So you can't imagine that the cameras would be there to be watching bodies being transferred as opposed to live people. So it'll just be really interesting to see how it plays out. Now, Israel also had a plan in place back in November of 2023 to receive the hostages at hospitals. And to deal with whatever they were going through as captives. And now, of course, that is considered a lot more severe now for people who have been held captive for almost 500 days, as opposed to just for about 60. So they have they've talked to psychologists just about they're ready with trauma care. They're ready to deal with possible very severe malnutrition and deal with possible if there's been any sexual abuse or anything like that. So they have no idea what they're getting themselves into and what they're going to be facing, but they're trying to anticipate all sorts of needs and dealing with that. Now, as far as the Palestinians, first of all, prisoners who are in Israeli jails are going to be released. There was a lot of negotiation as to who, and the Palestinians demanding, specific people to be released, whereas Israel said they absolutely would not release anybody from the October 7th, anybody who they arrested that was involved in the October 7th massacres. So the other thing is that they said they would not be releasing them any prisoners to the West Bank, but only to Gaza or to a country of their choice. I don't know if there was a limit on that to their choice, like a choice of a specific list. So that's going to take place. Of course, there's going to be there has to be a huge increase in humanitarian aid as well, and there also are promises of beginning the rebuilding process. Now, a couple of things that Israel had, what Israel was like not compromising on in the past was about withdrawing and ending the war. But the military is supposed to withdraw to certain points. So, but I think they were saying that, even the Philadelphia corridor. And if you remember, the Philadelphia corridor was why Israel was saying, back in April and May, we can't end this war. We're not going to make a deal because we have to control the Philadelphia corridor. But then, depends who interprets the deal. It seems like they said that they would be withdrawing, but Netanyahu just made a speech saying, no, that is not the case. We will not be withdrawing from the Philadelphia corridor. I'm just going to show you a little bit right now of his, where is it? Of his speech that he did tonight. Oh, I don't actually have it here. Hold on a second. I have it somewhere. No, I don't have it. Come on, where is it? Well, I'm going to look for it while I'm talking. I don't know. Do you guys have any questions? I have a million. I'm also not totally sure this is going to happen. Oh, I see. Hold on. I do have it somewhere here. Oh, right there. Right there. Let's see what he has to say.
ב-7 באוקטובר, אויבינו ביצעו את הטבח האיום ביותר שנעשה לעם היהודי מאז השואה. אבל מתוך האסון הנורא הזה, התגלתה העוצמה האדירה של רוח העם, והתגלתה גם הגבורה העילאית של לוחמינו. העוצמה הזאת היא שמובילה אותנו בנחישות להשיג את כל יעדי המלחמה שקבענו. להשיב את כל חטופינו, לחסל את היכולות הצבאיות והשלטוניות של החמאס, להבטיח שעזה לא תהווה יותר איום על המדינה שלנו. במלחמת התקומה אנחנו מבהירים לאויבינו, אנחנו מבהירים לעולם כולו, שכשעם ישראל עומד יחד, אין שום כוח שיכול לשבור אותה. אני גאה להיות ראש הממשלה של העם הנפלא שלנו. אני גאה להנהיג את המדינה שלנו בזמנים כאלה. הקבינט והממשלה אישרו את המתווה להשבת חטופינו. זהו יעד מלחמה שלא נרפה ממנו עד שיושלם. המשימה הקדושה של שחרור חטופים, המשימה הקדושה הזאת, מלווה אותי כל חיי, משירותי כלוחם בצה"ל ולאורך כל שנותיי כראש הממשלה. יחד איתכם אזרחי ישראל, ויחד עם רבים רבים בעולם, רעייתי שרה ואני מייחלים, מתפללים, פועלים לשובם של כל חטופינו. אני חושב עליהם כל הזמן. רעייתי שרה משקיעה את כל הלב, את כל הנשמה, בדאגה למשפחות ולשבים, והיא פועלת למענם גם בארץ וגם בחו"ל. ואני יודע שהדאגה הזאת משותפת לכל המשפחות בישראל. אני מבטיח לכם, אנחנו נעמוד בכל יעדי המלחמה, אנחנו נחזיר את כולם הביתה. עד היום השבנו הביתה 157 מחטופינו, מהם 117 בחיים. בהסכם שאושר כעת, אנחנו נשיב הביתה עוד 33 מאחינו ואחיותינו, רובם בחיים. ההסכם הזה הוא קודם כל תוצאה של גבורת לוחמינו בקרב.
So later on,
והוא
he's
גם תוצאה
also going to talk about
של עמידתנו האיתנה על האינטרסים
President-elect
החיוניים של
Trump,
ישראל,
who
עמידה קשה מול
mobilized
לחצים
himself
כבדים,
to free the
מבית ומן
hostages.
החוץ.
He says he spoke to
ההסכם הוא גם
me on
תוצאה של
Wednesday
שיתוף
evening. He
פעולה של
welcomed the
ישראל
agreement and
עם
he
הממשל היוצא
rightly
של הנשיא
emphasized that
ביידן
the first phase of
והממשל
the
הנכנס
agreement
של
is a
הנשיא טראמפ.
temporary ceasefire. That's
ברגע שהוא
what he
נבחר,
said, a
הנשיא
temporary
טראמפ
ceasefire,
התגייס
the prime
למשימה
minister
של שחרור החטופים.
emphasized.
הוא שוחח איתי בערב ביום רביעי.
He said, I
בירך על
also
ההסכם,
appreciate President
והוא
Trump's
הדגיש,
decision to lift
בצדק,
all remaining restrictions
שהשלב
on the
הראשון של
supply of
ההסכם
essential
הוא
weapons and
הפסקת
ammunition to the
אש
state of
זמנית.
Israel.
איך הוא אמר? הפסקת אש
He
זמנית.
later talks
לקראת
about
השלבים הבאים
the
בהסכם,
Philadelphia
אנחנו שומרים בידינו
border
נכסים משמעותיים
between Gaza and
על מנת
Egypt,
להשיב את
and
כל
he said
חטופינו
that
ועל מנת לעמוד
will
בכל
remain
מטרות
there.
המלחמה.
And he said he even plans to
גם הנשיא טראמפ
increase the amount
וגם
of
הנשיא
participation
ביידן
there.
נתנו גיבוי מלא
Now, the only
לזכותה
thing
של ישראל לחזור ללחימה. אם ישראל תגיע למסקנה
I
שהמשא
wonder
ומתן
about,
על שלב
I'm
ב'
gonna
הוא חסר
pause
תוחלת.
for now.
אני מאוד מעריך את זה.
The one thing I wonder about, oh wait, I still have him going in the background, is that there was a whole issue about like the Israelis that wanted to settle in Gaza, like from the time, like in November already, after October 7, 2023, they started talking in November about resettling Gaza. And it looked like a lot of the what the military was doing, which is were creating a buffer zone of like a kilometer from the border with Israel all around. They would like destroying neighborhoods like all within a kilometer so that they could keep like a security buffer zone. And also in the north, it was even more than that, was entire neighborhoods. And it looked like that, that there were people very blatantly saying like, we're going to create settlements in Gaza there. So it looks like that can't happen right now, like according to like this current ceasefire. Like there's not even a talk of that, and especially if the Israeli military is supposed to withdraw. But anything can happen. Look, if you're talking about 3 hostages a day, a week, like 3 at a time over the course of a week, and then everybody waits for another 6 or 7 days until the next one happens, that is like anything could happen. Like once like the first coffin is delivered rather than a live hostage, which could be as early as tomorrow, this could explode the entire deal. I mean, Israelis might absolutely go crazy about it. Or if the Israelis don't allow humanitarian aid up to what the Gazans were expecting, then if, somebody in Gaza, maybe it's not even Hamas, but somebody who has a missile, hidden in their house, launches it, that could explode the entire deal. So we're looking at an extremely fragile and like almost impossible 42-day slow bleed of these terms, whether hostages and prisoners and humanitarian aid and rebuilding and no weapons and no fighting and Israel like not bombing Gaza at all, and anybody in Gaza who has a rocket not launching it or sees an Israeli troop and not firing. I mean, it's going to take a lot to keep this ceasefire in place, and 42 days, 6 weeks, that's a long time to actually make it to keep it stable. So I for one don't have too much hope for after the first couple of hostages. Now the only factor here that could keep it going is the fact that Trump is about to be sworn in on Monday. So the first hostage release will take place the day before Trump's inauguration, which is probably like just for him, because he was the one who said that all hell is to pay all hell will be to pay if there's not a deal, and if the hostages aren't released. Well, they're not going to all be released by the time he takes office. But the only thing I can see is that that if there are any other deals that have gone on behind the scenes where Trump or America has promised anything to Israel or to the Palestinians, then I could see that, yes, that is what would keep it in place. Other than that, it looks very fragile, and it's going to be the kind of thing where people are going to be strung out for a month and a half waiting for this to complete. Now, that's just at the end, like from the Israeli perspective, that's just 33 hostages of 98. It's 1/3. So it's like you're not even there yet. So anyway, it's just really it's a deal that nobody won. I don't understand why it took so long, or why they decided only 3 at a time. And it's almost identical to a deal that was offered in May and was not. and they didn't take it in May. So imagine, like in May, there were so many more hostages alive, and there were so many more Palestinians alive. So anyway, but it didn't happen. So now the same deal, more or less, is the one that's going through. And on that note, on the fact that I can't talk either because I just swallowed something the wrong way. Anyway, so now I'm going to end this, but I would say, all right, so tomorrow I'm going to try to get online when it's happening, but I'm not really sure if it's going to be happening. They say at noon, but like whatever, if it's new, like that's a little iffy. But I'm going to see what I can do. Anyway, definitely stay tuned and we'll see what happens. But it's anybody's guess right now as we wait. So anyway,